Hello, beautiful beloveds. This is Sylvia Mordini, the founder of Alchemy of Yoga and Life Inspired. And today, Sutra Saturday, another Yoga Sutra Jam. Today's focus is chapter 2, verse 8. So we continue on the kleshas. And this one is aversion, avoidance, excessive avoidance is this particular obstacle, this illusion, this that is preventing us from being as happy as we could be. And so then the first question is, what are we trying to avoid, right? What is that? Well, it's dukkha. Dukkha is pain and suffering. And here's the thing. Pain is inevitable. If we're having a human experience, there will be moments of pain. And the only way to use those and to see those, rather than pushing them away, is to move closer to them, for the only way is through. And all those things that we see as challenges, as painful difficulties, those are really growth points, because everything that occurs is for the growth of our soul, to help us fulfill our soul contract. So you can think of those painful moments and occasions as guideposts, and they're giving us really potent information. I'm not saying easy information, certainly not. And I've had so many traumas that, as you've probably heard me say before, my wounds have wounds. But at the end of the day, those things that are happening to us, the messes, the dramas, the traumas, those are literally put there to help us learn from them and readjust and give us that information as to how we're living our soul contract and fulfilling this mission that we have. So aversion or excessive avoidance, of course we have preferences, and one of our preferences is not to have pain. But this is when it goes to the extreme, and it can look like spiritually bypassing. Instead of facing a conflict that you might have with someone, pushing it away and avoiding that person, that difficult conversation, then what occurs so often is that we prolong that pain, and then we all suffer needlessly for a whole lot longer, rather than facing that difficult person and having even sometimes a confrontation, but moving into it so that then we can dissolve its power over us. So that's one aspect, or one way that it might manifest. But this is what I know, is that yoga teaches us to fundamentally be comfortable with discomfort. Yoga and this path is not easy. If you've decided to live the life of a yogi, to follow this lifestyle and this way of showing up in the world, then it is not always easy. And so therefore we learn how to grow more comfortable with our discomfort. And it's interesting to look at us as modern day yogis, that we have so many things in place to help us avoid discomfort, to mask what we're feeling, to get lost in a numbing down, to avoid what could possibly give us greater insight even into ourselves. And so instead, we have learned so often to push things away that don't feel good, when at the end of the day, that's not part of this path. It's to recognize those things and say, what information can I gather from this? So one of my favorite prompts sitting in meditation is to just sit there and say to yourself, as you watch thoughts come into your mind, and even there's some more advanced practice, pull up, think of a difficult person, think of a difficult situation that you're in right now, and then watch your thoughts. And as your thoughts go through your mind, just say to yourself, this is just information. This is just information. This is just information. And see if you can take the power back. Instead of putting so much effort into avoiding that information that's rising up, that's showing us, sometimes the mirror quite close, of the shadow side that can really reveal a lot about our spiritual path and our journey forwards. The other part of what this means to me is how I have personally faced anxiety. And I'd never had any like anxiety, no panic attacks. And then I was physically attacked in university. And from that point, I suffered just terrible anxiety. Going outside again into the world was a real difficulty. It took a long time to build up again and to not constantly be in fear of everyone and everything around me. And so I said to myself, in that protective way, if I never leave the house, I won't have to experience this pain again. And no one else can cause me pain. No one else can attack me. And I'm going to be safe if I just stay locked in this house. But that's not the reality. So it was through the yogic practice of really looking at that pain and befriending my anxiety, befriending the panic attacks that ensued, and learning how to be with them rather than avoiding them, denying them, pushing them away. And that then changed everything. I didn't want to be locked into a life where my anxiety drove me and was based on a future thought that may or may not happen. So one of the aspects of this particular sutra is to hold to heart this concept of faith, shraddha. Faith, like literally hold to heart that place of faith and know that, okay, what is happening now? I'm feeling that anxiety. I'm feeling afraid of my own anxiety, or I can feel a panic starting, is to have faith that what might have occurred in the past is not going to occur in the future. And that this that is occurring is not against me. So as soon as I stopped being afraid of my own anxiety and afraid of the potential in the story of another panic attack, everything started to balance out, and I wasn't such a victim of life, and I wasn't in this energy exchange of pushing away any potential pain from my life. But it's always here in the heart that we have to tap back into. I love what Martin Luther King Jr. says, faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. So in my journey to heal my anxiety and my panic attacks that came as a result of the PTSD from this attack, I just kept taking the steps, but it started with the very first step of leaning in rather than pushing away. And when you look at chapter 2.7 and 2.8, the sutra before this and then this one, the previous one was longing, right? And then this one is aversion. And if you think about them like in a tug of war, want this. And if we're always push-pull, then that's a really difficult place to be. And it's certainly not a place filled with joy and a constant energy battle with the pull and the push and the pull and push thoughts. So the sooner we make peace with that we most want to push away, the easier life will get. And just have faith that if you step into it, you're not only going to be okay, you're gonna bring the light to the dark places, and it'll be more than okay. It'll actually give you insight on the way forward. So I hope that you've enjoyed this Yoga Sutra, chapter 2, verse 8. But also let me remind you that I have amazing Yoga Sutra courses in Teachable. So DM me or check the links in my bio. If you are a yoga teacher and you really want to learn how to teach these from a really practical standpoint, something that makes sense to normal people, or you're a serious student of yoga and you want to remove the obstacles to your happiness, you literally want to live the life of a yogi, then check out those courses. They're reasonably priced, and this is one of my specialisms. I'm an enthusiastic student and teacher of the sutras. And this reminder, like, why am I offering all of these sutra jams for free too? If all you practice are the asana, you're not really practicing yoga. If all you teach are the asana, you're not a yoga teacher. Okay? This is an 8-limb path, and this is way more than just warrior poses and down dog and planks. So if you're on the path of a yogi, then dive deeper into the sutras, honor the traditions and really the roots of this practice in its full spectrum, rather than just picking one part out and calling it yoga. So I'm always fired up to make sure that that's clear. Poses don't equal yoga. That's not like the definition. It's all of it, the 8-limb path. So I hope these kleshas have been shedding light for you. You can find some of them here on my IGTV, longer versions on my YouTube channel, and even more in-depth studies in Teachable. But from my heart to your heart, to the heart of the universe, may you love yourself, love your day, and love your life. Peace.